1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. I think it's Tuesday, February 1st, but maybe it's Wednesday, February 2nd, depending on when you're listening. It is, of course, the Super Bowl matchups have been set. The odds are out, and they are on the move. And who better to talk about them with than the Wizard of Odds himself, Kenny White. Kenny, what's up, man? How are we doing?
Hey, Will, doing great. Looking forward to the Super Bowl. Looking forward to seeing you next week in LA.
I know.
Can't wait.
We probably haven't seen each other since Miami.
2 years. Yeah, 2 years. So we got to get on a heater, get a college basketball heater that week.
Yeah, that's right. The Atlanta Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Rams was the true, just unbelievable run of heaters. But
we had fun. We had a lot of fun. We're gonna have fun next week too.
Yes, we are. All right. The game here is, I mean, look, I don't want to say it's pretty simple because I actually think, and if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/pick6, hit the subscribe button, turn on your alerts, give us a like, and tell us your favorite Super Bowl bet. If you are listening on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. The line here, Rams minus 4.5, and the total of 48.5. Both these lines have moved. We saw some 3.5s for the Rams, got bet up to 4 quickly, now 4.5, and the total opened at 50 and has dropped down a full 1.5. Before we sort of dive into those numbers, Kenny, I'm curious, like what goes into setting, what goes into setting the Super Bowl odds for odds makers, because it's different than just your normal regular season game or even a playoff game, because there's so much more action on it.
Very true, very true. And and the Super Bowl is based more towards the public than it is the professionals, because the general public's going to outweigh the professional money in this game. But and power ratings go through this. Everybody's using power ratings. They're also just some people are in the NFL are a feel, eye test, and they can make adjustments on the fly. This game's one of the easier games to make because we've already watched these teams play in the conference finals, and we knew the Rams were a slightly better football team than the Cincinnati Bengals. But I think they opened low on the side at 3.5 because the Rams are playing at home. And that's the one big thing we really don't know about is how many Ram fans will be in the stands. Is it going to be loud? Are they going to be loud? They're never loud. They usually sit on their hands. They show up late. They leave early. And they're not a great home advantage. But when they are a good home advantage, they are good. The LA Kings had great home crowds. The Rams had to battle the 49ers, who had as many fans in the stands as they did in SoFi last week. The crowd had to get loud. They wanted to match the noise of the 49er fans. And if the crowd can get that loud, it may be worth a couple points. This line could go up higher. I think the Rams are 4.5 points better on power rating wise. And I've seen a couple others that even are higher than what I have, which I think that's a little too high. But so if I'm at minus 4.5, the Rams power rating, home field's got to be worth at least 1 or 2 in this spot.
Yeah, I would point out too that, I mean, I think that this maybe applies, and I didn't think about it till you just said something, but usually at the Super Bowl, you have a lot of tickets that go to NFL players, various NFL teams. Each NFL team gets them. Players get opportunities to buy them. And then you have a bunch of rich celebrities who go to the Super Bowl. Do you know where most rich celebrities live? They live in Los Angeles. So presumably, we saw like Leonardo at the NFC Championship game, there were a ton of celebrities there, and I'm not saying they're going to be really loud in the stands, but I would guess that they're cheering for probably the Rams instead of the Bengals, if that's the team that's in town and they don't have a diehard team and you want to sort of support the local NFL team. So maybe that's a slight tilt too in the favor of Rams fans getting loud. Certainly the Niners fans were really loud, but so were the Rams fans. I do think there's a chance that, we see a bunch of Bengals fans flock to Los Angeles, but this isn't like this isn't really even like the Seahawks in New York, where anybody can get to New York and stay wherever, you can easily stay in New York City. You can easily find a hotel, even on Super Bowl weekend. Like it wasn't even a blip on the radar really in terms of what was going on in that city. I think it's gonna be tougher. And it sounds like the tickets are $5,700 a pop. There'll be plenty of Bengals fans who want to go, but that is not, that's not cheap. You're talking about.
I don't think you're going to get 30% Bengal fans, and that's what it would take to kind of make any type of difference in the crowd noise. Right. And that's all home field is crowd noise. So again, the LA fans got to get loud, and if they are, it'll be worth a point and a half to the betting line. So I could see this line going up to maybe even 5.5. 5.5 is a dead number. 5's a dead number. So
right.
But I think it's going to bounce back and forth. anywhere between 4.5 and 5.5.
What did you bet anything out of the gate? And I'm curious, you obviously think that the Rams are good value even at 4, maybe not 4.5.
I did not bet the Rams. I didn't want to lay a price. The NFL is tough to lay numbers in. They just want to win the football game. So
Right.
I did not. What I was going to wait for was that we normally get a lot of underdog money on the money line because they're taking the plus price. And then you get a cheap money line price on the favorite, usually the day of the game. So
Right.
I was hoping to lay it maybe $1.70 if it went that low. But I did bet under. I went under 49.5 was the best number I could get. So I'm under right now with the game.
Okay. What do you think in terms of I love the under. And I thought when we talked about the line on our championship recap Sunday podcast, I was like, 50 is not going to stick around. Like if you see a 50 and you like the under at all, hammer it because it's going to keep ticking down. These teams are both pretty conservative in terms of their approaches with the running the football. Sean McVay and Zach Taylor, young offensive minds, but they're really conservative on fourth downs. They have pretty good kickers, although Matt Gay's floundered a little bit. I would expect that they'll punt if they get a 4th and 2 or 3 at midfield, and that they'll kick if they get a 4th and 2 inside the red zone or something like that, or even a 4th and 1. Additionally, Sean McVay, second half, runs the crap out of the ball, especially as a lead. And we've seen with Zach Taylor, particularly against the Chiefs last week, more than happy to run on every single first down. How low would you be willing to take this under?
Well, my number on this game, I made it 44. So a little bit of leeway still for people who haven't bet it yet. I still think under 46.5 would be the lowest I would go to tell anybody. I don't think it'll go that low though, Will. I think you're going to get some over money from the general public. But to your point, you're right. Both these coaches are really good coaches, but they are they do get conservative. And we saw the pressure and how it mounted against Mahomes even in that championship game. The pressure was on his shoulders and Burrow, and they nobody could get a first down. And then, the Rams 49ers, same way. Matthew Stafford's never been there before. Cincinnati's never been there. This is a very inexperienced teams, I think, in this spot. So, and look at what the Rams have done. They've gone under 7 straight first halves. And on the year, they're 13-6-1 under in the first half as well. And you just said McVay loves to run the ball in the second half, a la Bill Belichick. Get the lead, run the clock out, win the game. And you're right. So if it's going to be low scoring first half, and then you're going to get him to run the clock out, this total is I don't know if it comes down much more than this. So I think there's value in going under 48.5, obviously, but I think there's value all the way down to 46.5 because 46 is a key number.
All right, so like I've got a Super Bowl pool that I'm in, right? It's a gambling pool. So like it's winner take all. Whoever's the most shares at the end of it's playoffs only. I'm in first place. There's really only 2 teams that are kind of in it. I've just gotten lucky, but I've got a 48.5 out there. I think I go ahead and take that, right? And just in case it keeps trickling down.
Yeah, I think it could go to 48. I don't know if it'll go any lower than that though. I really don't. This game, there's, the under money's come in and most people hate to bet under. Sure. So, the general public's going to bet over. They're thinking Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford. They're thinking throw the football all over the place.
And look, it's entirely possible that we see the Rams come out with a great scripted drive. They take a shot down the field, they score, and then the Bengals do the same sort of thing where they get play action loose with T. Higgins against a non-Jalen Ramsey corner, and all of a sudden it's 7-7, 5 minutes in. That would be really rare for a Super Bowl in general, but it is possible. And if that happens, maybe think about smashing that live under. So we sort of talked about so you think in terms of movement, we could see maybe down to 48, but probably back up to 49 on the total. And then as much as Rams -6, which I think would scare a bunch of people, but also entice a bunch of people into taking the Bengals.
Yeah. The books will go to 5.5. They'll go to 5 first, but then no nibbles at 5. They'll quickly go to 5.5. If they don't get enough money back to balance the books, they'll have to go to 6, and that would be the high mark. And the game will close between 5.5 and 6. The total will be, I think the total, I don't know if we'll see 49 again. I think it'll be 48 or 48.5. So the closer on the total.
Okay. Look, that makes sense. So with the Bengals and the Rams stuff. Actually, I'll tell you what. Let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll analyze these two teams. So I tweeted this out and it got a bunch of retweets because I think the general people agree with it. It was like, point. Rams have better matchups in the trenches. Schematic advantage, more superstars. Certainly better balance on both sides of the ball. Counterpoint, and a picture of Joe Burrow in his sunglasses. It's like I feel like there are going to be a lot of people, Kenny, who do not want to bet against Joe Burrow in this spot.
Right. Yeah, I do too.
How do you look at it from your power rankings perspective? Because like DVOA has the Bengals at around 15. They've sort of been luck box to get here. The Rams, you got to get lucky to get to the Super Bowl, but
yeah,
the Rams are profile as a top 5 team.
Yeah, the Rams profile, they are a top 5 team. I think I have them. I'm number 2 now in the NFL for them. But Cincinnati just beat my best team. The Chiefs were the best team in the NFL for me. They're my highest rated power rated team. And Cincinnati, you're right. I've followed those DVOA ratings all year, and Cincinnati has not come up. It's because they played in a weak division. They did lose 7 games. They played the Raiders, who are below average. And then they played Tennessee, and they got fortunate. They brought back Derrick Henry, who was a step slow, and Tannehill throws 3 interceptions. Well, otherwise they wouldn't have been in the game against Kansas City. And then that game, I can't figure that out. Kansas City goes right down the field 3 straight times, touchdown, and then all of a sudden they can't even get a first down.
Ted Wynn of The Athletic actually did a good breakdown on it. Apparently, and I don't know if you know this. Somebody else is telling me this that does a sort of similar, like does modeling and everything. The Bengals are actually one of the best halftime adjustment teams in the NFL, which kind of shocked me. But Lou Anarumo, their defensive coordinator, what he did was he started dropping in the second half. Basically, the whole time he was dropping 8 and having they were double teaming Kelsey coming off the line and having a safety drop down in a robber position and doubling Tyreek Hill. And so there's a 3-man rush, and then guys would sort of like, it was almost like court. I point this out because I don't know if they made that, if they planned on making that change at halftime all along, or if it was a holy crap, we're in trouble, we need to rip the Band-Aid. But there's a coordinated, clear, these guys understood what their roles were. If Mahomes got free and to break in on contain and force him to hold the ball, and I mean he couldn't get a first down.
No,
couldn't get any points.
Nope, couldn't get a first down. I think it was kind of a similar strategy the teams used like at week 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 when the Chiefs were struggling to score offensively, and then all of a sudden the Chiefs
what the Bengals did in the first half was what the teams were doing with that 2 cover shell.
Yeah,
and then they switched to what the Raiders used in 2020 or 2019 when they beat them in Arrowhead, and they had this just like game plan that just flummoxed Mahomes for some reason. I don't know if that's as easy. I mean, I guess it's as easy to do against the Rams. I mean, certainly the Chiefs' offense is better, but I think Matthew Stafford may be more of a veteran and has, the guys in Kupp and Odell Beckham. So, I mean, I'm not taking away from Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, just guys that can sort of get open and sit in these zone spots.
I wonder how much would weighed on Mahomes' mind with that he blew that, 2nd and goal and knew that he had to throw it in. It had to be a touchdown or incomplete because you had to take the 3 points.
Yep.
And they get nothing out of that drive. That was a killer. I mean, you're up 14 now. It takes the 2-point conversion away from the Bengals at that point. And
I would guess that they probably spent 5 of their 20 plus minutes at halftime of that game, talking about that, and all of a sudden you're disheveled. You're not thinking about adjustments. You're not thinking about what the Bengals might do and how you adjust to them. And they never caught up to it in the second half.
Yeah. Well, that would be a shame if they spent 5 minutes on that. That would have been a lot of wasted time because nothing you could do about that at that point. But
sure.
That weighed a question mark on my mind when they went into the half thinking, man, the Bengals got to be fired up. That's a touchdown. They're thinking they're down 28-10. And
maybe 35-10 by the time you get the ball back.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah. All right. So looking at the MVP odds. So I think we've covered the spread pretty well. If you like the under or you like the Rams, you should probably go ahead and get your bet in now. I know people aren't going to want to bet 2 weeks ahead of the Super Bowl, and you do have COVID concerns, so always be a little cautious on that. But that appears to be sort of the way, obviously the way that the lines are moving.
I would say, I don't know if you have to make a bet on the side yet, because now we're in that dead zone, at 4.5.
Yeah.
So if you had to lay 5.5, it's not much of a difference from laying 4.5. So you're okay to wait. Maybe if you like the Rams and you can find 4, there are a couple 4s out. I think you got value. And the other thing is, like I said, on game day, I think there'll be a lot of money on the money line for the Bengals.
Yeah.
And that price could come down. You could find a cheap money line on the Rams if you like the Rams.
Yeah. And you could also, if you were so inclined, a Rams money line under 48.5 money line parlay pays plus 186, which is,
I like that too.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think I'm probably gonna on my pool thing. If I got 6,700 shares to work with, I think I'm gonna do 2,500 on the under. I got a 4 on there for the Rams, 2,000 on the Rams, and then do like the rest on the money line parlay, or the Rams money line under parlay.
You know what everybody else has, right?
Yeah. Well, no. I don't know what everybody else has.
Oh, you don't know what they're going to bet, but you know how many shares they have left.
Yeah. There's only one guy.
Somebody's going to make a big parlay to try to catch you.
Somebody's going to go Bengals and over or Bengals and under. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I'm pretty sure if I get Rams and under, then it's probably over. But we'll have to see. I'm just kind of steadfast, Kenny. Like I picked the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl before the playoffs started, and not the season, the playoffs. And so like I'm on the Burrow bandwagon, but I think that the Rams are just a horrific matchup for the Bengals. Like they can get so much pressure on Joe Burrow on the interior. Aaron Donald is going to come strong. Von Miller has a Super Bowl MVP on his resume. Jalen Ramsey can lock down one of the receivers or just let them set up however they want. Zach Taylor is, I think it's a coaching mismatch with his former boss. And then I know the Bengals will be able to get some pressure on Stafford, but I'm not sure that secondary can hold up against all those different weapons.
Yeah, you bring up great points. That's where the Rams are a better team. They do have all those all-pro players on defense, and they have an outstanding offensive line. They got a great running game. They got the passing game. The Rams have everything it takes to be a Super Bowl champion. And remember when we were in Miami for that Super Bowl against it wasn't Miami. It wasn't Miami. No, Atlanta. We were in Atlanta for that first Super Bowl, and I love the Rams because I thought they were the better team than the Patriots, but. Yep. The inexperience for Sean McVay in that Super Bowl, he got completely outcoached in that game.
Yep.
But that was a Bill Belichick who'd been there many, many times. I don't know if one trip to the Super Bowl gives McVay that much more experience over Zach Taylor, because I was really unimpressed with McVay in the second half of that game against the 49ers. He's very fortunate to be where he's at. How about
the second half of the game against the Buccaneers?
He mismanaged that game as well. So back-to-back games. I mean, his timeouts, calling the challenges. He's not done well with challenges of late. And I disagreed with both challenges.
Challenges in the 49 and the NFC Championship game were two of the worst challenges you ever seen.
Terrible. Oh. So he's feeling the pressure too.
Yeah,
he's got pressure on him. That's why I kind of like the game under. Just a lot of pressure on both coaches. They play it close to the vest, but again, you get worried, like you said. They do have some big time playmakers on both these teams, and would it shock me if it was 7-7, 10 minutes in or 5 minutes in? No, but looking back at last 15 Super Bowls, 10 of the last 15, there was no score in the first 6 minutes of the game.
And most of them were Tom Brady, which is like super weird.
Right.
Yeah.
He got off to a slow start in a lot of games, Brady did.
I just can't imagine, even if they're scripted, I think that both of these teams will be interested in having a longer scripted drive that works down the field and tries to eat up some play clock. Like we saw it in both the championship games. The Bengals weren't really able to do it, but I think it was 7-3 closing down, or maybe it was 14-3 closing the end of the first quarter in the AFC, and then NFC there was just no scoring, just sort of a back and forth. And we saw the Bengals early on in that game against the Chiefs were basically going run. Okay, Joe, bail us out on third down and medium. And if you're not able to get those, it's going to keep damping down the scoring significantly.
Yeah, but the Bengals are here because the Chiefs could not sack Joe Burrow. They got to him, they couldn't bring him down. Now, there was three opportunities in the second half.
Yep.
If they would have sacked him one time, they may have won that game, but they couldn't bring him to the ground.
Yeah, and I do think that as good as the Chiefs, defensive line can be at times, and they have talent on there, like Melvin Ingram and Chris Jones play great. I'm taking Aaron Donald and Von Miller all day long.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, Von Miller against these Bengals tackles is a potential massive mismatch. I saw somebody point out that, and this is I think it was somebody at Pro Football Focus, PFF, but he's like, here's my galaxy brain take. The Rams defensive line is actually good for the Bengals offense because it'll force them to get the ball out quicker. It's like, well, okay. I mean, that's one way to look at it. But if Joe Burrow's under that much pressure, I think he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I think so too. And good. They made a good adjustment. So from going from 9 sacks against Tennessee to 1.
Yeah.
And I knew that would happen. I knew it. It happens all the time when you're embarrassed. And then you have to make adjustments. You're gonna play better. You're gonna make the adjustments. And you're right. Burrow's got to get the ball out quick against the Rams.
Right. I'm trying to find the Super Bowl MVP odds, which I somehow don't have in front of me. But I do know that the favorite, of course, is Matthew Stafford at plus 120. We have Joe Burrow at plus 220. I saw when Debo had him up earlier on the day. I'm gonna see if I can find him. Let's see, Super Bowl MVP. Here we go. Yeah. So Stafford is like basically close to even money. Cooper Kupp, I saw it 7-1 on Caesars. Jamar Chase, somewhere in the 12-ish range. Aaron Donald, 25-1. Odell Beckham was like 40-1. Cam Akers, 40-1. Joe Mixon in that same range. Do you think it is worth trying to chase any skill position guys or defensive guys in this matchup? Or is it just going to simply be a bet on the quarterback situation?
Obviously, yeah, we always get the bet on the quarterback situation in these games because if they win, it's the quarterback. But boy, Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase, two of the best in the business. Those guys just could have that type of game that could propel them to the MVP. I think those are the only two. I mean, I think about Aaron Donald. I just don't think that he has enough. He'll be able to do enough to beat out Matthew Stafford in this game.
I think my thing on it is, and we talked about this a little bit with, I guess at some point during these 75 podcasts that we've done, maybe it's during the mailbag, but so we only have an example of 4 wide receivers since 1999, I think it is, or 1990 actually, who have won the Super Bowl MVP. All 4 guys had 100 plus yards. Edelman did it in that low-scoring game against the Rams at the Atlanta Super Bowl, 13-3. Deion Branch did it against the Eagles, I believe, or maybe the Panthers. I can't remember which one. But Brady had won the prior Super Bowl MVP in each of he'd won one in each of the last 2 years subsequent. So people had already voted for Brady and then were voting for a receiver. And then the other one was Santonio Holmes, which was after Big Ben's allegations. And I don't think anybody wanted him to be yelling, "I'm going to Disney World," after all that stuff off the field. And then oddly enough, Hines Ward got it too in a game where Ben just had a terrible game against the Seahawks in that Super Bowl. So I think it would take Stafford only throwing to Kupp or Burrow only throwing to Jamar Chase for them to pull it off, probably, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, they would if their stats are.
I mean, if Kupp goes for 250 yards or 200.
Oh yeah, he's the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets, or really probably anything above 150 and 2 touchdowns, it's going to be hard to do anybody else. But I just think the voters, as I always point out, these voters are doing this and they're all on deadline because they're all sports writers. They're all trying to get it it's not their full-time job to vote for the MVP. So they sort of get their ballot script. All right, Stafford played well. The Rams are winning. Matt Stafford's the MVP. Right. And then they just try to do it quickly to get down to get quotes and all that. So I'm not sure there's a ton of value in any of these. I wouldn't mind Donald at 25-1, or I would look at Odell Beckham at 40-1, just in case Kupp gets.
I'm looking. Yeah, Beckham down 16-1 though at Caesars right now. So.
Oh no, you can't bet 16-1 on Beckham.
No. Yeah. When you said 40-1, yeah, that might be something you could take a look at.
We might have moved the thing down actually because we were. We were talking
Van Jefferson is at 60-1, and that guy's got great speed. If he catches 2 bombs,
yep, absolutely.
That could propel him into the discussion.
Okay, I like that. I could get down with that for sure. Okay, any other props that stand out to you?
Just an early look on this. I was amazed. The team that scores last wins the game. Is 16 straight years.
Wow.
16 straight years. Yeah, the team that scored last won the game, and that's a yes, minus 155. But I think that's about the right price, and it's just an anomaly. It's like flipping a coin. Sometimes you're going to flip 10 straight heads, but this one should be 2 out of 3. This could be finally the year that it turns around, but I'm not going to bet against that trend. But I am going to say no score in the first 6 minutes. Both these teams have been under teams first quarter. Rams are 14-6 under first quarter this year. They're 7-1 under their last 8 games. And Cincinnati is 12-6-2 under in the first quarter of their game. So both teams very slow starters. Like they heavyweight boxing match here. They're going to be conservative. They don't want to make a mistake early.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I could see easily no score in under 6 minutes. Same reasons we've been talking about. These guys are conservative. You don't want to be the coach who you don't want to be Sean McVay and hand the Bengals a huge advantage. We've seen McVay play in a low scoring defensive battle. I don't think these defenses are as good as those guys, but yeah, I think both of those make a lot of sense. I actually took Cup and Beckham over receiving yards and receptions. Cup is 8.5, which is kind of crazy, but that dude just catches 10 balls a game. And 102.5, I think, receiving yards. And then Beckham, 65.5 receiving yards and 5.5 catches at plus money. I think we're going to see the Rams throw a bunch in the first half, and then it's going to be Akers, Sony Michel time. I do like Akers under 65.5 rush yards too, though.
Yeah, I could definitely be talked into that one for sure. I think you'll see Michel a little bit more in this game, and still Akers is still not 100%. He had some nice runs this past week against 49ers, but again, Sony Michel will be involved. He's got playoff experience or Super Bowl experience.
Oh yeah, that's a great point for sure. All right. Anything else for you, Kenny, on the Super Bowl? We're a week and a half out, so it's
we got still a lot of time to dissect this in many different ways. But again, I'm looking for a little lower scoring game than what the numbers saying out there, and a lot of my props are going to be designed to maybe under stuff. Just the fact that
sure.
I think we have 2 conservative coaches, and they'll play the game that way. And there's a lot of pressure on both guys too. You never know when you're ever going to get back here. Stafford's got to be so pleased he's there, but Joe Burrow's not a done guy. He knows to get back here might be awfully difficult, but who knows if it's your last time there. So a lot of pressure on both quarterbacks, both coaches.
Dan Marino remaining a cautionary tale. And you know who else is a cautionary tale? Aaron Rodgers. If you told me in 2010 that Rodgers was never coming back to the Super Bowl, I would not have believed you.
Right, exactly.
For a second. So, yeah.
Yep.
All right. Kenny, this is the year. We get our revenge from Atlanta. When Belichick took down our Rams, we had massive Rams bets. And boy, oh boy, it's like Rams and over. And boy, did that not pan out.
Not even close.
I think I lost everything we were up on that heater on college basketball.
Yeah, we were out from the get-go on that Super Bowl. So
yeah, that's right. We're getting our revenge in this one, courtesy of the Rams and the under. That's the early lean there for us. Kenny, as always, man, a pleasure talking to you, and we will see you soon.
Yes, sure will. Yep, safe travels. We'll see you in LA. Thanks.
All right.